mean, what is it about this group that you play with in this defensive backfield that's really made it so good, that came together last year to really be a force for Navy?
Well, I feel like with the different coaching that we had, Coach Newberry and Coach Norwood last year, we got a new cornerback coach, Coach Adams, who is doing a great job right now teaching us and bonding us together. And I think the experience we all have as a backfield will make us successful this year, because now it's our second year knowing what we're doing, and we can play with more speed now, knowing all the calls and everything. So,
have you also been getting some new wrinkles that maybe Coach Newberry wasn't able to put in last year because everything was so new, that he's able to kind of slide in there and build on you with some new looks this year?
Oh, yeah, there's some new stuff that will be coming, and you'll just have to stay tuned and find out.
You bet we'll be tuned in. Let me ask you this. I mean, you guys, you're great in coverage, but also you're a physical backfield, especially you. I mean, what's it about you guys? I mean, especially you're almost like a linebacker at cornerback with so many tackles and even tackles behind the line of scrimmage. What is it that you've been able to do to develop that as a player?
It's just the intense effort that Coach Newberry preaches. We always run to the ball. All the tackling drills we do during practice almost feels like we're linebackers, like you say. So when it comes to make the tackle, it feels like instinct. So,
talking about the instinct of tackling, what's it been like for you that you have the instinct to go after the player and do the tackling, but with the COVID protocols in practice, you haven't been able to do as much tackling?
I mean, I feel like naturally, I mean, we're all football players, we're all college football players. We wouldn't be here if we didn't have the ability to adapt and overcome. And I feel like game day, all the practice that we have been doing with the pads, it'll transfer over to tackling the BYU players.
And finally, what's it like for you having Diego in front of you? What's it like playing with him and knowing that he's going to help you guys get off some blocks?
It feels really good having him. I mean, I know I'm always going to get effort, and he's a great leader as a defensive player. So we'll get effort, we'll get production, everything from him, anything you need.
How excited are you to get this game going with BYU? It's been so crazy over the spring and the summer, and now with your online classes. How excited are you just to get out there on the field?
So excited. It's been so long. It's been a lot of doubts and stuff, are we going to have a season? Are we going to play a game? But now that this is set in stone, we have something to look forward to, and we're real excited to play. So we're going to make the best out of our opportunity.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Bill Bergman.
Hey, Mike. First off, just the cornerback room. How are you guys looking this year? How's the chemistry going for you guys?
I mean, the chemistry is always good in our cornerback room. The seniors in our room, they're really stepping up and teaching us more, not even with football, just life stuff, and really appreciate that, all the advice that they're giving to us. So the chemistry is good. We always hang with each other, joke with each other,
And kind of touching off on the previous question, we're now 10 days away from the start of the season. Now that that countdown clock is kind of starting, are you starting to ramp up your energy, getting ready for the season a little more?
I mean, the energy is stay consistent, because we never had a doubt that we're going to not have a game. So we've always prepared each day like a game. So there's no need to ramp up anything, because we always have that high energy.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Randy.
Hey, Michael, we talked with Michael Cooper last week. He talked about some of these little matchups you get in practice, and how he's not a real big fan of the fact that you're not real you don't cooperate and stay still a whole lot when he tries to block you.
I mean, Coop. I mean, I'm always going to make the job difficult for Coop. I'm not going to make it easy, because that's how it's going to be in the game. There's going to be corners that are maybe physical or try to go around them. So if I give him the best I can, it'll make him a better player. And that's all I look for at the end of the day.
With the style of defense you guys play, and how aggressive you all have to be, How handy is your background coming out of a football program like Buford?
Buford, what Buford really taught me was just straight effort, and that's what Coach Newberry's preaching. So it has to. I mean, Buford's helped a lot with that. Straight run into the ball, everything, just making plays. If you're gonna make a mistake, make it fast, make it while you're sprinting. So that's all I know. So I'm thankful for Buford for that.
Hey, can you draw any analogies between a real tackle and tackling a donut in practice?
Analogy?
I mean, is there any commonality between the two?
I guess the wrapping up portion, the donut is skinny enough, like to I guess resemble a body or maybe legs together. So that's what I imagine when I'm tackling it.
All right, that's cool. Thanks.
So
Wags.
Hey, Mikey, how you doing, bud?
doing good. How about yourself?
Great. So I think you and Cam, two veteran guys, you were starters last year, so I think that's looking good. What can you tell us what's happening behind you? I think you got some guys like Marcus Wiggins, a veteran guy. Caleb Clear was listed on the initial training camp depth chart. BJ Gibson, I already heard from that he's getting some time at striker when they go to a dime package, so I guess he's showing up. Just kind of tell us about some of these other corners that perhaps we don't know a whole lot about.
Well, Wiggins, he got some time my freshman year. Well, that would be his sophomore year. He's real skilled. He can. I feel like he overthinks a lot of the times, but now he has a much firmer, more like confidence in our defense. So he'll be definitely a big factor, especially being a big body, covered those big receivers that we go up against. Caleb Clear is physical, smart. He has it all. So I can't wait to see him play, honestly. I guess Michael Farrar, he started some games as a freshman when he played. He's probably the fastest guy we have, and he can cover anything in such a quick distance. So I can't wait to watch him play.
So before Coach Norwood left, I'm sure he had a little postseason debrief with you and talked to you about what you can improve upon. Anything in particular as you looked at your game and looked at back at the film from last season, you thought you could do a better job of, Mike?
I felt like I could have done a better job knowing my defense a little more so that I can position myself in a better spot to not just make the PBU, to make the pick, or maybe, I mean, that's really it with me. And I guess getting my weight up to be a heavy hitter on the tackles.
Have you added weight and strength since last season?
I have.
You weigh 160 now?
Nah, you can go up 10 pounds a little bit, maybe 15.
All right, good. Well, lastly for me, I mean, you entered the transfer portal briefly, then pulled out. I know coaches probably talked to you about, and I know it was a tough time being away from school and all and not being with your boys, but just kind of tell me about how that process went for you. And I'm going to presume that you're now quite at peace with being at the Naval Academy.
I am. So leaving definitely, like, I had a lot of time to reflect back home, and I mainly just, after like talking to a lot of people, like, this is the place for me. I know I can be successful here, and also miss my brothers, obviously. And you really don't know what you have till you don't have it anymore. And not being a part of this program was like, it just wasn't it. So I'm glad I'm back here now, and I'm just ready to play some ball. I miss this family.
Well, I mean, I guess just talk in general about what the defense, I mean, you feel pretty confident in this defense. There's a lot of returning parts, and the secondary in particular comes back pretty much intact. I mean, we saw the improvement last year. Do you feel like there can be another step forward taken?
Not really. Like, I just want to I honestly can't speak till we play, and so that's all I have to say about that. We're going to continue to show our effort, our attitude, and our toughness. So that's our motto: eat. So that's what we're going to do.
All right. Well, one last thing. What about Coach Adams, the new your new coach? How's he? How are you getting along with him? And does he seem to have, been a seamless transition with him coming in?
It has been a seamless transition. He's a really good coach. He's really dedicated, and he's not only just about football. He's about like family, treating us like we're his like other family, and teaching us life lessons out of football. And that's where we get that bonding and chemistry with him. And he knows his stuff, and if he makes a mistake, then he'll correct himself very quickly. Or if we make a mistake, he'll correct us quickly. And he can he shows us stuff like by himself. So like if he needs us to do something, he'll demonstrate it himself, and I think that's pretty cool. So he's very interactive, very energetic, very positive. So he's a great coach to have.
Social distance practicing for a cornerback.
Yes.
What does that entail that the football fan probably wouldn't imagine?
A lot of focus on fundamentals. There are a lot of the details that we don't often get to focus on. Footwork and stance and eyes and hand placement. We've been really focusing in on that in an effort to control the controllables. And then I also get a little creative. There are some skills that we have to make sure that we're developing on a daily basis. So it allows me to get my creative juices going a little bit, and whether that's taping some punching gloves to a PVC pipe or teaching guys how to press, jam, and counter release with a hand shield covering their face. It's been interesting, but good, because it allows me to take some time and step back to really make sure that I'm focusing on those minor details that we have to get good at, have to be great at.
Yeah, I mean, I asked you that mainly. Mikey was with us earlier, and he mentioned that how different it is having a coach that will physically show you what you're supposed to do, get in there and jam you up or whatever it has to be done, because it's just kind of fun seeing that.
Oh man, well, you know what? He's just getting a little taste. I haven't been able to climb up under a chute with him quite yet, but it's fun being able to just teach them the basics, and a lot of they already know. But again, it's a lot of detail that we don't often get to take a step back and focus on. And so it's really been rewarding for me to be with a group of guys like Mikey, who they're like sponges. They're really good football players. They're smart. They know what they're doing. They're experienced, but still, man, every coaching point that I put out there, they snatch it right up. They eat it up. And so it's been cool.
What's it like being the new guy on a staff like that? Because I mean, there's some guys there that, I mean, you don't have kids that are anywhere close to old enough to have been there as long as some of these coaches. I mean, they've been together a while, and you being a new guy, what's that dynamic like?
Well, Randy, to be honest with you, it's felt like I've been here for a while. Even with the quarantine and shelter in place and missing spring ball and not having that chance to build a bond with the staff and the players, our staff meetings at practice, conversations through text and phone calls, it feels like I've been with these guys for a long time, and I think it says a lot about the character of this program, of the coaches, and just the type of men they are. They don't meet strangers. They've never treated me like the new guy, and I've never felt like the new guy. So aside from me just trying to get my bearings and figure out which way's up around here and trying to learn a little bit of the history and definitely the area some, I feel like I've been a part of this staff, this family for a while.
How long did it take you to say yes to join this defensive staff, working for this defensive coordinator and this head coach?
Believe it or not, it was tough. In the back of my mind, I think I'd said yes before they even offered me. But leaving Kalamazoo, leaving Western Michigan, and Tim Lester and his staff was tough. I mean, it was an awesome experience for us. Great family environment. Tim was an alum of the program, so he pumped energy and effort and toughness into those kids every day, and I really enjoyed that. And then my wife and kids, man, they started to set some roots there in Michigan and really enjoying the town. So that part of it was a little bit tough, but to have the opportunity to join Coach Niumatalolo's staff and to get a little bit closer to home, to be in an area that I'm somewhat familiar with. I've got family in Virginia and Baltimore. So I think in the back of my mind, I was already in, but it was tough to go back to Kalamazoo and have that conversation with my wife, who's always been supportive. But to let her know, hey, look, hon, I think we're making that move. And then just as tough having that conversation with Coach Lester and Lou Esposito, defensive coordinator.
Yeah. How do you like this style of defense? When you look at what Coach Newberry likes to do, it seems to me most defensive coaches in college football would love for a chance to be inside this kind of system.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's controlled chaos. You know, everybody talks about it, but definitely when you're here and you're coaching, you're learning, you're teaching the guys the details and the intricacies of the coverages and the fronts. There's a lot of detail involved, but I'm sure to the offense is breaking us down. It kind of looks like voodoo, right? And so I enjoy it. I think the more that you can control and force the action on defense, I think the better you'll be. Obviously, you have to pay attention to tendencies and stats and what teams are good at, but I love the fact that Coach Newberry allows the guys to pin their ears back, cut loose, and go play. And so I'm excited. You know, I've been learning the playbook since day one, and it's been a pretty smooth transition. Coach Newberry and I speak a lot of the same language as far as defensive back coverage techniques, and he's been doing it a long time. So if there's anything he ever sees that he's like, you know what, let's try this or that, it's a pretty smooth transition. So I'm excited to see it in the grass, man. I can't wait till we can tee it up, man, and get after it a little bit.
Hey, my last question. Is there a specific trait you need to see out of a cornerback that'll play for you in this system that does – it will put guys on an island occasionally. I mean, and they've got to know that, and that can't bother them.
No, I agree. I wouldn't say there's probably one thing. There's more like 4 things. Definitely speed. You know, we got to have guys that can run. They've got to be able to run all day. And we've got a room full of guys that either ran track in high school or – you put a clock on them today, man, they'll drop some low numbers. And toughness is a big one. Obviously, Coach Newberry will ask our guys to do a number of different things, whether it's man coverage, zone, you know, bringing the corner. So the guys have to be tough. They also have to be smart. They have to be able to process. You know, we're making a lot of checks and adjustments on the fly. And so we're looking for guys that are smart and football smart. Football IQ is very important. And then last but not least, guys that prepare. You know, our goal is to be the most prepared unit every day. And so whether that's in the weight room, in the practice field, on game day, we just want to be mentally and physically prepared. So whatever Coach Newberry asks us to do defensively, we can do it. You know, there's no question, no doubt that we can get the job done. So I'd say those are probably the 4 things, Randy, that I would hang our hat on. But first and foremost, they got to be able to run. I can't coach that.
Yeah. Catch up speed.
All of
help
it.
you. Yeah.
No, I need all of it. We need every bit we can get, for sure.
All right, great. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Phil Bergman.
Coach, we just got off the phone with Michael McMorris, and he had a lot of high praise for you. What are you trying to bring to this program this year in year 1 at Navy?
I think the biggest thing is just some juice, man, some energy. You know, my goal every day is to help these young men turn what they're passionate about into action. And so for me, it's modeling the same thing. You know, I get up every day and I have the opportunity to coach football. And so I'm very passionate about that. I get goosebumps just thinking about it, you know. So I want to try to model that for the guys and bring that energy, you know, in meetings, on the field, obviously on game day, try to control a little bit more, but definitely some energy, some juice with our room and defensively and across the team.
We've heard from a lot of players about how different it is as a player to have the Zoom meetings and everything, but as a new coach coming in and meeting the guys, how different is this for you?
It's so different. But I tell you, Phil, the guys, man, they've been gracious and they help me. They help me navigate the waters of Zoom and Google Meets and everything else. I asked them a ton of questions. You know, Cam had an idea for me to get a second monitor so I can split the screens and be able to show film and do some different things. And so it's been a group effort. You know, I collaborate with them a ton. And I think I maybe asked one time for a little grace in that, and they've been awesome. You know, if I'm fumbling around trying to get a screen pulled up, or if the film freezes, they're always pretty good about giving me some time to correct it. But it's just part of it. It's the life we're living now. With between staff meetings, like you said, and player meetings, we're just trying to master the mundane and make the most of it.
Speaking of Cam, have you ever been around a student athlete as well-rounded and just as unique as he is?
No, he's rare. He's been a pleasure to get to know, and watching him work on the field, and I think the respect that he garners from his teammates and from this staff, he's been a pleasure for sure. I think he's also probably made my transition that much smoother, right? He coming into a new situation and with a new staff and new players, to have a guy like Cam who's got it together, right? To help you out a little bit, walk alongside you has been great.
Cool. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Wags.
Hey, Coach, good to see you.
Bill.
So why don't we do a little breakdown of some of these guys and what you're seeing out of them? Why don't we start with Michael? And what are you seeing out of Michael? I think he plays boundary corner pretty much, right?
Yes, sir. He can pretty much play anywhere on the field. He's a throwback football player, man. His football IQ is off the charts. He can put himself in positions on the field where I like to say he's rising above coaching, right? I give him a couple coaching points. I tell him what his assignment is versus run and pass, and he just finds a way to get in there to make plays. And so I think his skill set is definitely his football IQ and knack for making plays.
I think Coach Newberry told me during our postseason breakdown that he challenges passes a lot better than you would think for his size of 5'8", that not a lot of contested balls were caught on him. Are you surprised by that? Is that jumping ability or just good positioning?
Well, you know what? On paper, I would be surprised, but when you watch him, you watch how he works out in the weight room. You watch him on the field. Come watch him warm up. He's 100 miles an hour, and he's running everywhere. He's jumping everywhere. He's throwing the ball. He's catching the ball. He just loves football, and so the fact that he makes plays is not surprising. Obviously, I think to your point, people probably look at him and say, what could he do at 5'9"? But he's dynamic. He's a good player. He's a good athlete. And like I said, I think he's smart. He puts himself in position to make plays more than anything else.
I think Coach Newberry told me that he wanted to see Kinley be a little more aggressive, especially in run support. Is that something you've been talking with him about going into this season?
I think we had one conversation about it, Bill. We talked about it early on, maybe this summer, just about his expectations, my expectations for him going into the season, and one of them was just, hey, look, man, you've got experience, you've played, the system. Now it's time to cut loose, and so he's really stepped up to that challenge, and he's experiencing a ton of growth just in the short time we've been back together, and I can pull a couple clips from practice, man, where you're like, ooh. Who was that? And it's Cam. He's flashing. He's kind of back to his old self. But I'm excited to see what he'll do once we cut him loose.
So when we were talking to Coach Johns the other day about his position group, he mentioned that Gibson comes in the dime package. So I'm going to guess that he's showing up. But I guess if you went to a third corner, or if you had to, give Michael or Cam a break, who's next up?
Oh, man, they're actually a handful. We're by committee right now. We've got Marcus Wiggins, who's another senior, who's done a phenomenal job since we've gotten back together. You've got Michael Farrar, who's right now at the field corner, but he can play both positions. Caleb Clear has been a pleasant surprise through camp, just working hard every day, seeing the improvement on the tape. And then a host of young guys, too, with Jamal Glenn, Daniel Taylor, Evisa Sambo, David Miller, who's another guy that you'll see on some special teams. There's Jordan Jeter, who's another guy that's a young talent, a sophomore, who will probably make an impact on special teams early, but don't be surprised if you don't see him in there get some action. He's come a long way in a short time, along with Brandon Willis as well out there at the boundary corner. So we've got a lot of guys that I think would be in a position to step up. And we're looking to play as many guys as we can. I feel confident in that. I feel like any number of these guys in the room can go out there and play. They know what to do. They know how to do it. More importantly, they want to do it. They want to play. You know, these guys are just itching. You know, they're chomping at the bit to get out there, even in practice. And we've got a number of them helping us out on scout team. They want to run routes. They want to, you know, line up, and they want to challenge our starters. So it's a really fun, you know, challenging environment for our guys. Man, I'm excited. You know.
So maybe I'm mistaken. Is Gibson now a safety?
Yeah, he's kind of utility. He plays safety. He's comes in, like you said, on our dime package as striker. But I still give him some cornerback work to do. You know, he's still doing the cornerback footwork drills. He's doing the hip mobility circuit a couple times a week, ankle stability circuit that we put him through. So I'm keeping my hooks in him as best I can. You know, you're never in the mode of giving up good players. Not that I'm giving them up, but to see him leave and go to the safety room, you know, I was not taken aback, but I was kind of shocked. But I understand we're trying to get our best players on the field, and so he's a guy that I could see in the future swinging a couple different positions, whether it's safety, corner, or even striker on our third down.
So coming in here, I imagine you looked at tape, and I mean, obviously we know this conference is largely a passing conference, and a lot of very high-powered passing attacks that puts cornerbacks under pressure. Is that something you welcome, the challenge that you're going to get against some of these squads?
Absolutely.
Then he went and added BYU to the schedule, though it wasn't on there, and
Come on.
they throw it around too.
They do a great job, man. The quarterback's solid. You know, he's got a really good arm and goes through progressions pretty quick. He can get the ball out. So, you know, we've got our work cut out for us week in and week out, but that's what you want. You know, these guys work so hard. They sacrifice so much, and the opportunity you want them to have is the shot at the best. You know, and I think Coach Niumatalolo is at the helm of this thing, and he wants the same thing. You know, we want the opportunity to show the world what we're about, you know, what we can do, and give our kids an opportunity to shine.